The lab was quiet except for the hum of machines and the soft click of scanners. Rows of glowing tubes held ancient samples of human DNA, carefully preserved for millennia. The alien scientists leaned over their screens, eyes wide with curiosity and tension. "This sequence, it shouldn't exist," one whispered, his voice trembling with disbelief. Others gathered closer, murmuring among themselves, unable to hide their excitement. The leader of the team, Kale, moved deliberately between stations, his long fingers tracing the holographic patterns. "It's unlike anything in our database," he said. "Every gene seems intentional, almost like it was designed to be found." The room fell silent. No one had expected to encounter something that seemed alive, that seemed to communicate through its structure. A soft alarm pinged from one of the analyzers. The screen flickered and the patterns twisted and shifted on their own. One scientist gasped. "It's changing. How is this possible?" Kale leaned closer, heart pounding. He felt a chill crawl along his spine. The DNA wasn't just information. It seemed aware, almost playful, as if it was testing them. Outside the lab, the city buzzed with the normal rhythm of life, unaware of the discovery happening deep in the research center. But inside, tension thickened like fog. One of the younger scientists, Lyra, reached for her console. "If we probe it too deeply, could we harm it?" she asked, her voice small but trembling. Kale shook his head slowly. "We don't know. But curiosity is stronger than fear, Lyra. We have to see." The first experiment was cautious. They exposed the samples to low-level stimulants, watching for reactions. The patterns on the screen shimmered, almost like they were dancing. "It's responding," another whispered, awe in his voice. "It knows we're watching." Lyra stepped back, her hands clasped tightly. "This is wrong, it's too intelligent to just be DNA," she said. Kale did not answer. He only watched, heart thundering, knowing that no one had ever seen anything like this before. Hours passed. The lab lights dimmed as the team continued their work, eyes glued to screens and microscopes. Suddenly, one of the tubes began to glow faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. Everyone froze. Kale swallowed hard. This shouldn't happen," he muttered. Lyra's fingers hovered over the controls, unsure whether to touch them. The glow intensified, almost illuminating the entire lab with a soft blue light. The alien scientists exchanged glances, a mix of fear and fascination crossing their faces. A holographic projection sprang to life above the main console. Symbols flashed briefly, forming sequences that none of the team could fully interpret. "It's trying to communicate," said one voice barely audible. Kale leaned closer. "Communicate? How can DNA communicate?" His mind raced. The sequences seemed random at first, then patterns emerged, fragments of something greater, a puzzle that teased the mind. The team argued quietly over what to do next. Some wanted to continue probing, eager to understand. Others hesitated, afraid of what might happen if they went too far. Kale's voice cut through the tension. "We cannot stop now. This is the moment we were waiting for. But we must be careful." He gestured to the glowing tube. "Observe. Document. Respect it." Suddenly, the glow shifted into a spiral pattern, and a sharp pulse of energy surged through the room. The lights flickered, and the machines groaned as if alive. The scientists staggered, holding onto tables and consoles. Lyra's eyes widened in shock. "It's reacting to us," she gasped. Kale felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. They were witnessing something alive, something beyond their comprehension. Late into the night, the patterns continued to change, each movement more intricate than the last. Kale could feel his pulse quicken with both dread and wonder. "We've only seen a fraction," he said quietly, almost to himself. "There's so much more." A strange sensation ran through him, a feeling that the DNA was aware of their presence, that it was waiting, testing, and perhaps even judging. At one point, a faint whisper echoed in the lab, though no one had spoken. The projection flickered, showing a sequence that resembled a faint map, a trace of something ancient. "Are we reading memories?" Lyra asked, her voice shaking. Kale did not answer immediately. Instead, he studied the map, feeling a knot of tension and excitement twist in his chest. "If these are memories," he said finally, "then they are not meant for us. Yet here they are." The team worked in silence after that, each absorbed in the glowing sequences. Outside, the city slept, unaware of the secrets stirring within the lab. Inside, curiosity burned bright. None of them could predict what these ancient patterns would reveal next, only that the world they knew might never be the same. The DNA had opened a door, and no one knew what waited on the other side. Kale finally stepped back from the console and let out a long, shaky breath. "We are only at the beginning," he said. "And already, we are in danger." Lyra nodded, eyes wide with fear and awe. The glow from the tube pulsed softly, almost as if it were alive, almost as if it were smiling. The story of humans hidden for eons had begun to stir, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. The lab had grown colder, though the machines hummed warmer than ever. The glow from the ancient human DNA tubes pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat syncing with the team's own. Kale paced slowly, fingers tapping on the console, eyes fixed on the shifting sequences. "Something is changing faster than we expected," he muttered. "It's responding to us, more than we can measure." Lyra leaned over her scanner, voice tight with tension. "I don't understand. The code isn't just DNA anymore, it's alive." Her words made others glance uneasily at the tubes. The air felt heavier, charged with anticipation. Even the youngest scientist, Joran, normally fearless, clenched his hands until the knuckles whitened. "Alive? That's impossible." A sudden alarm rang sharply, startling everyone. Screens blinked wildly, and the sequences twisted into new forms. Machines emitted low-frequency vibrations. Kale felt his stomach tighten. "It's adapting," he said, voice barely audible. "It's learning how we watch it." Lyra stepped back, eyes wide. "Learning? But DNA doesn't do that." Her words trembled in the cold, sterile air. "The first test was simple. They ran a low-energy simulation to see how the human sequences reacted to digital stimuli. At first, nothing happened. Then, the holographic strands on the main screen began to reorganize, forming patterns that resembled tiny circuits, like a map of thought rather than biology. The scientists exchanged uneasy glances. "It's predicting our inputs," Joran whispered, a tremor in his voice. "It knows what we will do next." Kale's heart pounded. "Predicting, or controlling?" he asked. No one answered. A shadow of doubt fell over the room. The DNA seemed harmless, yet the realization sank in, they were dealing with something they couldn't fully understand. Something intelligent. As hours passed, the sequences grew more complex. One segment sparked a reaction that caused the lab AI to behave erratically. Data streams flickered, lights dimmed and brightened, and holographic panels rotated in impossible ways. "It's interfering," Lyra said, voice shaking. "It's influencing the machines. How is this even possible?" Kale leaned closer to the console, feeling a thrill mixed with fear. "We're witnessing an evolution, in real time." Then came the first direct interaction. A human volunteer had been part of a monitoring experiment, remaining connected to the lab systems via neural interface. The moment their gene sample interacted with the network, the screens around them lit up like fireworks. Symbols and patterns that defied translation floated in the air. Lyra gasped. "It's communicating, through him." Kale's voice was sharp, tinged with disbelief. "He's just human. Nothing should, nothing can." But the evidence glowed before them. The volunteers' brainwaves synced with the sequences, creating predictive patterns that altered the machine's behavior. Every calculation, every data readout became uncertain. It was as if humans themselves had become the algorithm. The team argued over what to do. Some wanted to stop immediately, afraid of provoking unknown consequences. Others, driven by curiosity and ambition, urged continued observation. Kale's voice cut through the tension. "We cannot retreat now. But we must proceed with caution. One wrong step and we may not just lose control, we may awaken something far beyond our understanding." A sudden pulse surged through the lab, shaking the consoles. Lights flickered and shadows danced on the walls. Lyra stumbled backward. "It's too strong." Her words echoed through the chamber, each syllable heavy with fear. Kale's eyes narrowed. "It's testing us, learning our fears, predicting our reactions." As the pulse faded, the sequences remained altered. The human volunteer sat motionless, eyes closed, lips slightly parted, a calm contrast to the chaos around them. "It's like it's teaching," Joran whispered. "Not just responding, teaching." Lyra shook her head. "Teaching? That can't be right. It's just DNA." But deep down she feared it might be more than DNA, something ancient, intelligent, and aware. Late into the night, the lab descended into quiet tension. The glow from the tubes and screens bathed the scientists' faces in shifting light, highlighting awe and terror in equal measure. Every pulse, every flicker, hinted at capabilities beyond comprehension. Kale finally spoke, voice low but firm. "We are seeing only a fraction of what humans can do. This code, it is awakening. And the question is, will we be ready for what it teaches us?" No one answered immediately. The machines hummed, the tubes pulsed, and the volunteer remained calm as if nothing unusual was happening. Outside, the city slept, oblivious. But within the lab, uncertainty and exhilaration twisted together. Each scientist felt it. Humans had a hidden edge, a spark no alien machine could match. And though the first part of this awakening had begun, none of them knew where it would lead, or how far the human secret would extend. Kale stepped back from the console, eyes scanning the flickering sequences. "This is only the beginning," he said softly. "And already, we are in the middle of something far larger than we imagined." The room pulsed again, a quiet rhythm that seemed almost alive. Every scientist felt it in their chest, a subtle warning and promise all at once. Humans were no longer just samples in a lab, they were catalysts, unpredictable and extraordinary. And the awakening code had begun. The lab felt older than it really was, as if the air itself carried whispers from centuries long gone. Kale and his team stared at the human DNA projections, now more complex than ever. Patterns shifted into shapes that resembled cities, landscapes, even structures the aliens had never seen. Lyra's eyes widened. "These aren't just sequences, they're memories," she said, voice trembling. Joran leaned closer, brow furrowed. "Memories? How can DNA store memories like this? It doesn't make sense." The projections pulsed softly, almost like they were breathing. Kale's hands hovered over the controls. "We've touched something far older than we imagined," he murmured. "Something that survived millennia, untouched by time." One holographic fragment shimmered, revealing faint images of star systems, ships moving through space and figures observing from shadows. The team gasped. Lyra whispered, "It's like humans were watching the galaxy long before us. Long before anyone else." A chill ran down Kale's spine. The idea was terrifying and exhilarating at the same time. Humans weren't just ordinary beings, they had secrets buried in their own cells. A low rumble ran through the lab as if the sequences themselves sensed their fear. The machines flickered and hummed in rhythm with the pulses from the DNA tubes. "They're aware," Joran said softly. "Not alive like us but aware. Like they're judging us." Lyra shook her head. "Or warning us." Kale's attention was drawn to a fragment that seemed different from the others. A spiral of symbols appeared, unfamiliar and alien even to the team. "These aren't memories of people," he said, voice tight. "They're instructions, something humans recorded in themselves long ago. We're seeing echoes of their strategy, not just their past." Suddenly, one of the alien researchers, Tova, pointed at a sequence glowing brighter than the rest. "Kale, look at this." Defensive. Almost like it's preparing for something. The room fell silent. Fear gripped them. The DNA didn't just hold history, it held warnings, contingencies, secrets meant to survive any threat. Lyra's fingers trembled as she touched the console. Could this mean humans anticipated danger? Something we can't even imagine? Kale nodded slowly. "It seems they left more than genetic traces. They left knowledge embedded in themselves, knowledge we aren't ready to understand." The team debated what to do next. Some wanted to continue, desperate to decipher the ancient sequences. Others urged caution, fearing that pushing too far could awaken forces they could not control. Kale's voice carried authority and unease. "We proceed carefully. One misstep and these shadows of the past may consume us." Hours passed in tense study. The holograms shifted constantly, revealing fragments of ancient tactics, survival plans and technologies the aliens had no knowledge of. Machines whirred as they tried to simulate the patterns, but every calculation failed. The DNA seemed to anticipate every attempt, reconfiguring itself in ways that challenged every principle of logic the scientists knew. Then a sharp alert rang out. One sequence had triggered a dormant system in the lab, previously overlooked. Panels rose from the floor, projecting a map of a distant world, its surface dotted with strange markings and energy readings. Joran's eyes widened. "It's pointing somewhere, a location? But it's not on any star charts." Lyra stepped closer, heart pounding. "It's like, it's guiding us." Kale felt a mixture of awe and dread. "We are not dealing with mere remnants of humans," he said quietly. "We are seeing the ghosts of intelligence that existed long before us. And they're still active." A ripple of tension passed through the team. They realized that the DNA wasn't just data, it was a connection to something far greater, something still alive in its own way. A soft flicker in the projections revealed a human figure moving through the landscapes of memory. It paused, turned, and seemed to look directly at the observers in the lab. Lyra gasped, stumbling back. It's aware of us. Watching us." Kale's jaw tightened. The feeling of being observed was heavy, almost suffocating. Every scientist felt a pulse of fear and exhilaration. They were not just studying history, they were interacting with it. Tova leaned over Kale's shoulder, whispering, "What if it's testing us? Judging our worthiness to know more." Kale exhaled slowly, his mind racing. If it is, then humans design themselves to survive not just time, but anyone who tries to uncover their secrets. By the time the city lights dimmed outside, the team had uncovered only fragments of the full picture. Yet every moment revealed more tension, more intrigue. The DNA sequences had shifted from passive archives to active guardians of human knowledge. Kale finally spoke, voice low but firm. "We are in their shadows now. Every discovery, every step forward, brings us closer, and yet farther from understanding." The room was silent except for the hum of machines and the pulse of glowing DNA. The team exchanged glances, each face reflecting awe, fear, and an unspoken question. How far could these memories reach, and what price would they pay for unveiling the past? Kale's eyes lingered on the projection map, tracing the unknown location that flickered faintly. "We have begun to see what humans left behind," he said softly, almost to himself. "But this is only the start. Their shadows are long, and they are far from done." The lab had fallen into uneasy silence. The glowing sequences from the human DNA tubes pulsed in rhythmic bursts, casting strange shadows across the scientists' faces. Kale leaned over a console, eyes narrowing. "It's changing again," he said quietly, a mix of awe and dread in his voice. "And this time, it's more active than before." Lyra stared at the holographic display, her fingers trembling as she adjusted the readings. Symbols shifted into intricate patterns, weaving themselves into forms that resembled maps, machines, and networks. "It's not just memories anymore," she whispered. "It's guiding us, teaching us. And I think it's picking up on our thoughts." Joran shook his head, voice tight. "Our calculations are failing. Every attempt to predict it is useless. It's like it's always one step ahead." The machines hummed, flickered, and occasionally sparked in random sequences. A low vibration ran through the floor, subtle but noticeable. Kale clenched his jaw. "It's not just the DNA. It's interacting with the volunteer, with the network. It's alive in a way we didn't expect." The volunteer, a young human named Eli, sat at the center of the lab, his hands resting lightly on the neural interface. His eyes were closed and his chest rose and fell in calm rhythm. Then, slowly, his fingers twitched and the holographic sequences shifted instantly in response. The team froze. "He's controlling it," Lyra whispered, fear and amazement mixing in her tone. Kale leaned closer, heart pounding. "No, that's impossible. He's human. Nothing in his physiology should be able to do this." Eli's eyes snapped open, glowing faintly with a light that wasn't normal. The DNA sequences pulsed in synchrony with his heartbeat. Machines whirred, and panels on the walls lit up with streams of data forming impossible patterns. Suddenly, one of the researchers shouted, "The lab systems are locking up. It's overriding everything." Lights flickered violently, alarms rang, and holograms spun in chaotic motions. Lyra grabbed Kale's arm. "It's too strong. We can't stop it." Kale forced himself to stay calm, eyes fixed on Eli. "Step back. Let it happen. Observe carefully." Eli's lips moved, though no sound came out. And yet, the sequences shifted, reacting to his thoughts. Symbols formed what looked like solutions to complex equations the aliens had been struggling with for hours. "He's anticipating our moves," Joran said, voice barely above a whisper. "Not just predicting, he's rewriting the system." A new pulse surged from the DNA tubes, shaking the lab. Consoles sparked and some panels went dark. Lyra's eyes widened in terror. "He's interacting with the entire lab. The DNA, the machines, it's all connected to him." Kale felt a thrill run through his veins, tinged with fear. Humans were no longer passive subjects. They were catalysts, unpredictable and overwhelming. The sequences now formed shapes resembling alien technology, blueprints that none of them had seen before. "He's showing us possibilities," Kale said, disbelief heavy in his voice. "This isn't just DNA. It's strategy, foresight, intelligence amplified through him." Lyra swallowed hard, a mix of excitement and fear in her eyes. If this is real, humans are capable of things we've never imagined. A sharp flicker ran across the projection, and a strange map appeared, an unknown world, dotted with symbols that pulsed like warning lights. Joran leaned forward, tense. "It's pointing to something. A location." Lyra nodded slowly. "Not just a place, a challenge. Something we're meant to face." The lab seemed to vibrate, the atmosphere heavy with anticipation. Kale's voice broke the silence, calm but firm. We are witnessing the edge of human potential. Every sequence, every shift, is proof that humans can adapt, predict, and overcome in ways no technology can match. He paused, glancing at Eli. And yet we cannot control it. We are observers of something far larger than ourselves. Eli's eyes scanned the projections, and suddenly, the sequences rearranged into patterns that seemed to anticipate the scientists' own thoughts. Every question, every calculation they tried to input was instantly corrected, improved, or redirected. Lyra stepped back, awestruck. It's teaching us, without words, without sound, just presence. Tova whispered, voice tight with tension. Are we ready for this? Can we handle what humans are showing us? Kale didn't answer immediately. He only watched the pulsing sequences, the glow of the DNA tubes, and the calm focus of Eli. The lab had become a nexus of knowledge and power, a place where the human mind reached beyond its body, reshaping the reality around it. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the hum of the machines and the rhythmic pulses of the glowing DNA. The team felt a mixture of awe, fear, and exhilaration. They realized the truth. Humans were not simply intelligent, they were adaptive, intuitive, and capable of influencing things no alien system could predict. Kale finally stepped back, voice low but resolute. We have reached the edge, and humans are leading us there. Lyra's eyes reflected the glow from the sequences. And we don't know what comes next, she whispered. The pulsing lights from the DNA seemed almost alive, as if they were aware that humans had taken the first true step into awakening. The lab settled into a tense calm, but the energy remained charged. Machines hummed in anticipation, sequences glowed with potential, and Eli sat quietly, the human mind bridging past, present, and unknown possibilities. The team understood the reality now. Humans were unpredictable forces, capable of shaping events in ways no one could foresee. And the edge they had reached was only the beginning. The lab thrummed with energy, every machine alive with motion and every screen shimmering with the pulse of the human DNA. Kale stood at the center, eyes wide, heart racing. We've seen the edge, he whispered. But now we see the whole picture. Eli remained calm, seated at the neural interface, hands lightly hovering over the console. The sequences responded instantly to the faintest movement of his fingers, reorganizing into patterns the team could barely comprehend. Lyra stepped closer, voice trembling. It's guiding everything. The machines, the projections, even us. It knows what we're thinking before we think it. Joran's mouth hung open in disbelief. This isn't intelligence, it's something beyond. It's like the human mind itself is everywhere at once. The lab hummed louder, pulsing with rhythm as though the DNA and Eli were one entity. The scientists felt the tension build, a mix of fear, awe, and exhilaration. A holographic projection rose above the main console, revealing a galaxy of stars, planets, and unknown territories. Symbols shifted across the map, converging on a single distant world. Kale's voice was tight. The DNA, it's pointing to a destination. It's giving instructions. Lyra's eyes widened. Not instructions for us, for humans. It's preparing them. Preparing Eli. Suddenly, the sequences reorganized, forming something like a message. Words, faint and glowing, appeared across the holographic display. Observe. Adapt. Survive. Lead. The team froze. Tova whispered, her voice low and uncertain. It's not just information. It's a directive, a plan. Humans wrote this for themselves, for the future. The machines shuddered, some panels going dark, others projecting vast simulations of alien technology. Kale felt a rush of both dread and exhilaration. Everything we tried to control, it's already beyond us, he said, voice tight. We are witnessing humans, at their full edge. Eli's eyes glowed brighter, and the DNA sequences pulsed in harmony. The projections around them shifted rapidly, showing scenarios, simulations, calculations, all perfectly optimized. Lyra stepped back, her hands pressed to her mouth. Humans, they anticipated everything. Every mistake, every outcome, every challenge. A sudden tremor ran through the lab. Machines sparked, holograms flickered violently, and alarms rang. It's testing us, Joran shouted. Or testing itself. Kale's jaw tightened. No. It's revealing. Humans are showing us the truth of their capabilities. They aren't just alive, they are architects of possibility, strategists of survival. The team watched in awe as Eli reached toward the main console. The sequences obeyed instantly, flowing through circuits, rewiring simulations, and predicting every potential outcome of the lab's systems. Lyra whispered, almost in disbelief, "It's like the lab is part of him, part of humans." Cale's eyes narrowed. "It isn't just part of him. It's all humans, past and future. Everything embedded in this DNA, it's awakening through him." The room fell silent except for the rhythmic pulsing of the sequences. Every scientist felt the weight of revelation. Humans were not merely participants. They were catalysts, capable of reshaping reality in ways the galaxy had never imagined. A faint projection of human figures appeared within the sequences. They moved with purpose, exploring star systems, observing alien civilizations and adapting to every threat. Lyra's voice cracked with awe. They prepared themselves. For survival. For discovery. For dominance. Cale stepped closer to the console, voice low. Not dominance in violence, in ingenuity, in foresight, in resilience. Humans designed themselves to endure, to outthink, to overcome. This is the ultimate HFY revelation. The room seemed to vibrate with agreement, as if the machines themselves recognized the truth. Suddenly, a sharp pulse shot through the lab, and all systems went dark for a heartbeat. Then lights returned, but the sequences now glowed with an intense brilliance. Eli opened his eyes, calm and unwavering. The projections shifted to a star system previously unknown. Cale's breath caught. "They've led us to the next stage. The final reckoning." Lyra glanced at him, face pale but filled with awe. "The humans, they were always more than we imagined. They survived. They adapted. They mastered themselves before anyone else could understand." Joran shook his head slowly. "And they're still teaching even now. Even to us." Cale exhaled slowly, watching Eli and the glowing DNA. "We came to study humans. But they were never meant to be studied. They are meant to lead, to awaken, to challenge the galaxy itself. And we are witnesses to it." A faint ripple ran through the lab, the final pulse of the human sequences. The team realized that everything they had feared, every uncertainty they had felt, was now answered. Humans were not just intelligent. They were a force of nature, adaptable, foresight, and unstoppable. They had hidden themselves within their own genes, waited, and now revealed themselves to a universe unprepared for their brilliance. Cale stepped back, feeling the weight of history and destiny pressing down. "This is the end of our observation," he said quietly. "The beginning of everything humans were meant to be." Lyra's voice was soft, almost reverent. "And we've only seen the start." The lab pulsed one last time, DNA glowing like a heartbeat of the universe itself. Eli sat quietly, calm yet radiant, a living bridge between the shadows of the past and the possibilities of the future. Outside, the galaxy remained unaware of what had awakened within the human lineage. Inside, history had shifted. Humans were no longer just subjects. They were the edge, the spark, the reckoning that the stars themselves had never anticipated.